Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're here for another installment of the weekly meta breakdown where we look at the top performing decks on the MTG Arena ladder. This video is for standard best of one. If you're looking for the other formats, best of three, or like say historic or explorer, check out the playlist. We try to get out a new video every week. And as always, we get the data from Untapped GG, what you see on the screen, companion tool that runs alongside your Arena client, tracks win rates, loss rates, whole bunch of cool features. Link is in the video description if you want to get signed up. But I will paste all these deck lists into the video description so you can copy them into Arena if you'd like. So last week I put out the question, would you like to see like the top 5 Mythic decks, how we were doing it in the past where we look Platinum to Mythic. So kind of mixed responses all across. So what I'm going to try to do this week is I'm going to expand it. So there's 6 Mythic decks, like from Mythic to Mythic rank, so just all Mythic decks. There's 6 decks that have like a positive plus 53% win rate. Anything about 50 I'm going to kind of exclude. There's a couple variations of decks, but we're going to, like the same kind of archetype, like Soldiers, there's a couple different takes, but we'll look at the ones that are doing the best. We'll go over that. But continue to let me know in the comments what kind of slice and dice view you'd like to see. So this is November 27th to December 4th. Mythic rank only. 34,000 games of Magic were played. Top performing deck of the week is Azorious Soldiers for best of one. And there's a couple different versions of this deck that are built. The one that's doing best is this particular version here at 63%. It's on 3 Myrels at the top end. This kind of seems to be the card that differs the most in terms of the counts amongst deck. This card's very good. I was playing Two-Headed Giant at the GP in Toronto last week. One of my opponents had this and just kind of took over the game. Managed to kind of push through, but just a lot of blockers for my Weenier style aggro deck. The rest of the deck, you got your 1-drops Recruitment Officer for card advantage, Yodian Frontliner to get back out of your graveyard, pump the squad. Harbin lets your squad get flying and plus in terms of attack. Resolute Reinforcement gives you 2 soldiers for 2 mana. Thalia for tax, Valiant Veteran as a Lord style effect. Your only removal in this deck is Brutal Cathar, but you can try to time it with flip, unflip to kind of get your opponent. Siege Veteran to pump the team, like pump individual creatures and also act as kind of a board wipe removal insurance card. Skystrike Officer that gives you more tokens when it attacks, also lets you draw cards mixed in. Notable at the mana base, you got Fortified Beachhead as a land that'll allow you to pump the squad. And this version's also playing Plaza Heroes, a single of. Your only legendaries are the Thalias, Harbins, and Myrels. So it's not like the Legends all deck, but in a pinch, they can give protection to any of these kind of, like Harbin and Myrel are kind of your, once you kind of stabilize or you go wide, they're kind of the payoff cards. So having another way to protect them is a pretty good way in the deck. From Blue-White Soldiers, we go to Mono-White Soldiers. So full 4 of Myrels, basically you get smoother mana in terms of no dual lands, and you also get access to Mishra's Foundry as a creature land, but you don't get the pump style effect. I was playing a couple of the pump lands anyways because they come into play on tapped white sources. The main draw of mono white is you get to play Lay Down Arms, which is basically Swords to Plowshare for CMC. You get to exile a creature equal to the number of planes you have. They gain 3 life. The 1 mana cheap removal. You're playing Guardian of New Benalia in this list here over stuff like the Harbin. Same 1-drops in here, same 3-drops. This version's a little bit smoother on the mana, but I find like it doesn't go as wide without Myrel, and it also doesn't have a way to kind of build you back up in terms of card advantage. I generally would probably prefer the blue-white version just for the card advantage. We then go to Mono Red Burn at 59, almost 60% win rate. So this is the standard version with Monastery Swiftspear included here. So you have your 1-drops, evasive, pump Kumano to pump the team. 8 pieces of burn in Lightning Strike and Play with Fire. Full 4 of Feldon. I'm not crazy about this card, but it's a way to kind of give pseudo card advantage. Reckless Impulse is card advantage. Adversary to flashback stuff. Chandra Dress to Kill and Jaya, both as grind elements. Both can provide card advantage, incidental damage, or bodies. Full 4 of Mechanized Warfare makes everything kind of scale a little bit larger. And then a squeeze to kind of go wide. This version doesn't have a clean answer to Shieldred, which will have you kind of struggle, but has a lot of cheap interaction for stuff like the Soldiers deck. However, at times can fall behind if they're able to go wide enough. Mechanized Warfield does let you scale, but then you're going to kind of have to point stuff to the face in terms of burn. Full 4 of Mishra's Foundry as well in the mana base. 22 lands is probably a little lacking based on this curve. Also, full 4 of these when you're going to need red on 1 fairly consistent could come to bite you. For comparison's sake, I've been playing a lot of the mono red alchemy list, and my curve is lower than this deck. I play 22 lands, but I only play 2 Mishra's Foundries, and I've had times where I've had like 3 lands and I've drawn both Mishra's, and it's given me a little bit of trouble, and I'm not trying to hit double red in my deck at all. But that's kind of the deck there in mono red. We then go to mono black control, 59% win rate. And this is more on the control side. You have different versions. So notably, there's no Tenacious Underdog, Evolved Sleeper, anything like that. You're going 3 cut downs, 3 go for the throats, 3 March of the Wretched Sorrow. Just heavy on removal. Malicious Malfunction to deal with all the early creature decks. And you're kind of pumping out. You're trying to go use like Celestis and stuff to draw into your Invoke Despairs and Corrupts, which is basically a burn spell to anything equal to number of swamps you have. And then you gain life that way as well. I think it's a little ambitious to have Sorin with Invoke Despair and Convoke. You're going to be taking potentially a lot of damage, but it is somewhat optional. Liliana is always kind of tricky in these types of builds because it does have value, but your curve is very high, so you potentially will be discarding good cards from your deck. I'd also play Takenuma. I know you're playing Corrupt, but having a single Takenuma is not going to like kill you. And then I would also probably play like 1 to 2 Mishra's Foundries mixed in there as well. Then we go to mono blue tempo. This list really hasn't had any updates since the last set, but basically you're playing Haughty Djinn and Hilarion Terror as your kind of threats, and you're really just trying to counter or protect. This is a deck that does very well on the play and a little bit worse on the draw if your opponent can get under you or go wide. It does have the ability with Haughty Djinn to just pump out a bunch of damage very quickly. And then lastly, Celestia Enchantments, also a deck that... So this version here hasn't updated. The real update you should do is you should be playing the green-white pain line in this deck as well. That came out in the most recent set. But this deck here, it's basically looking to use Weaver of Harmony to double up on triggers. And then you could like double draw, double chapter 1 or 2, double exile. Catilda's a big beast on the top end. Lifelink helps you kind of swing damage. Same with Kami, stuff like that. The biggest thing with this deck is you kind of lose out on card advantage. You can kind of run out of gas fairly easy. Stuff like Spirited Companion is really the only card draw engine in the particular list. In terms of creatures, you're at 23. I wonder if you've been playing like a single or 2 of the Ajani's just to try to get some card advantage off the top would be something reasonable in this type of list. But that's pretty much it for the week. There hasn't been too much innovation in Standard since Brothers War came out other than the Soldiers decks for the most part. We'll kind of keep monitoring week to week, but if there is something unique that you've been having success with, make sure to drop the link in the comments for others. If you have stats, it's always greatly appreciated. The thing that I always like to do is, instead of just claiming, hey, this deck's good, always have stats to back it up. So like I've been playing a lot of Alchemy Red. I enjoy the deck. I have a 75% win rate. There's a video up on that if you want to see, but I kind of try things out. You can see like win rates, stuff like that. I haven't been playing too much lately. I got a PS5, so I've been playing that. But keeping up with these meta videos. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And we'll be back with other formats. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Hope you have a great one and stay safe out there.